Good evening and welcome to the Variable Y Minute with your host, the Variable Y. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I am so excited to be in front of you guys with a brand new equipment. I hope you guys are loving it as much as I am. We're putting out some new quality and I hope you guys are really appreciating it. And please liking and sharing and subscribing to the channel. Thank you again for joining me tonight. Tonight I wanted to talk about something that I found rather interesting. This is something that happened maybe like last week was the big announcement of it, but so many things going on, we couldn't get to it. And then of course, yesterday, the Washington football team was changing their name, and that is a really big deal. So we had to get into that. But I did want to bring this up because I think this is just as big of a deal as a lot of other stories out there. This is something that I've been thinking to myself that this should happen. Never really had a platform to discuss it myself, but now that I do, guess what? I'm going to talk about it because, like I said, I got the platform to do it. So why not do it? I've been thinking for a long time that it is time for young Black people to go back to HBCUs when it comes to athletics. For a number of different reasons. Let's be honest, there are biases that come into play when you are a young Black male or female and you are participating in athletics. There's a lot of coded language that's out there for young Black athletes. There's a lot of like I said, biases that go into it. There are a lot of coaches' decisions that are and are not made. There are a lot of the evaluators that say a lot of things about young Black people. Let's just be honest. And of course, because of the stigma that's behind going to an HBCU, not a lot of kids get recruited out of HBCUs. Not a lot of kids go to the pros out of HBCUs. That's just a fact, and we have to bring that up. So a lot of kids are deciding, or they decided not to go there because their sole decision in making these choices is they're trying to get to the league. So these kids decide, no, instead of going to Clark Atlanta, I'm gonna go to UGA. Instead of going to Florida A&M, I'm gonna go to Florida State. Instead of going to the University of Florida, I'll go to Bethune-Cookman, I'll go to Florida, or whatever. Instead of going to Southern, they'll go to LSU. You get what I'm saying. Instead of going to the school that's around where they grew up, they're going to go to the bigger school from the bigger name brand because they know that will get them looks and that will get them to where they want to go. But I've been seeing a lot of how these kids are being treated and some of the history behind how they were treated long before. And it wasn't that long ago where there were kids who were from our background who went to the HBCUs because those were the only places they would go. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't that long ago that segregation was still a thing here, even in the South. And we had all the athletes. And the athletes, they needed to go to school so they could go to the pros. And where did they go? They went to historically Black colleges and universities. And of course, with the end of segregation and of course with the other schools being opportunists, and we're all opportunists, so I'm not mad at anybody for that. But with the other schools being opportunists, they decided to take advantage of the opportunity and decided to recruit those players. So now that we got that little background out of the way, I'm going to get to the story of the day because I think that this is an important story. I think that this is a great story. I hope that this is the beginning of a bunch of big stories that come out about this. So I'm going to go to the cell phone here because I want to make sure I've got everything correct, and I want to read it because I want to get some quotes because I think these are very important. So don't mind me, guys. I'm just going to the cell phone like I said. So, and these quotes I'm pulling from The Undefeated on July the 3rd. And the headline is, or the important story of the night is that Makur Maker chooses to go to Howard University. So Makur Maker is a 6'11", five-star basketball recruit choosing to go to a historically black college and or university, Howard. And you all know Howard is one of the stalwarts when it comes to HBCUs, and Makur Maker is deciding to go there, and that's a really big deal. Let's give just a little bit of context here. Howard is not Howard is not a basketball powerhouse. It's not a maven. It's not one of these teams that you would decide to go to if you're going to go to the league. Howard has not made the tournament. I believe, I'm trying to look it up because I saw it in this article, but I can't find it. Howard has not made the tournament in years, let's just say. Again, I can't find it. Makur Maker, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Maker is actually the cousin of Thon Maker, who plays with the Detroit Pistons right now. And Maker made his decision, like I said, around July the 3rd, and he had a couple of reasons for making his decision, and I just want to read some of those because I want to get some of his quotes, and then we'll get a little bit more into it. And this is quoting him here, where he says, "I need to make the HBCU movement real, so that others will follow." Makur wrote, "I hope I inspire guys like Mikey Williams to join me on the journey. I am committing to Howard University and to coach Kenny Blankney." So that was a quote that the Undefeated got from him. And then here is a direct quote from his Twitter. "I was the first to announce my visit to Howard, and others started to dream, quote unquote, what if. I need to make the HBCU movement real," and you heard all the rest. So, all right, so the phone's away. Now we're going to get into my whole opinion of this. So, like I was saying, I think this is a really big deal just because sometimes, and I saw some other guys write this. I think it was Mikey Williams, but I'm not really sure. But I saw some other guys write this, like, write your own narrative. There are a lot of young black people, young black men and women who get into these situations and they get recruited by these coaches, and they're put into all of these environments that they're not necessarily comfortable with, or they don't necessarily know what's going on. Or let's just be honest, and this is not just for young black people, this is for all young people who are getting recruited by coaches and universities. They get lied to, and it doesn't turn out to be exactly what they thought it would be. So my whole thing is, why not go to a university or go someplace where at least you feel like you would be comfortable? Because I'm just going to be honest with you, and it could just be me, I could be wrong, but if I were in Mississippi, let's say, if I go to the University of Mississippi, am I going to be comfortable with a bunch of people who just a few years ago were calling themselves rebels and flying the Confederate flag? No, I don't think so. What if I go to South Carolina and I go to Clemson and they do the same thing? What if I go down to Florida State or I go to Florida and they do the same thing? Like, I'm just keeping it real. For people who look like me, this is not something that we look forward to. This is something that we look to get away from. So when you say, hey, why don't you go and you try to write your own narrative, part of that narrative is going and finding it, being around people who make you feel comfortable. And sometimes that's being around people who are at these historically black colleges and universities. And another thing is, a lot of times they try to discredit these schools. These schools get discredited for a number of reasons, and it's very unfound. It's not, it doesn't make any sense. Like, my wife and her family, they all went to a historically black university, and they all have great jobs. And, my wife has a few degrees, a few graduate degrees. So from her HBCU. So instead of trying to discredit some of these schools, I think that it would be a great opportunity for some of these young men to just be around people who they're comfortable with. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't go to any of the Power Five schools or anything like that. But what I am saying is, if they were to think about it, it would be beneficial if they were to at least give them a look or at least give them an opportunity to recruit them. So that way, they would be more comfortable with the schools that they're going to, and they would also help those schools out, get them a lot more attention, get them a lot more notoriety and recognition. And who knows what this is going to do for Howard. I tell you this, I'm going to watch Howard because of Maker is going to be there. Hopefully they'll put them on TV. Hopefully we'll have basketball while I'm tripping. But if we do have basketball and we can see these kids play, hopefully they'll put them on TV because I'll watch. Why not? Like, I know he'll probably be one of the best players in his own conference. Hopefully they'll get some bigger games and they'll put his games on out of conference and we can see exactly what this kid can do. So my whole thought process behind this was, and I still stick to this, sometimes you can't let somebody else create your own narrative. Like I said, I think it was a young man, Mikey Williams. I could be wrong, but you can't let somebody else create your own narrative. And I applaud these young men for going out and creating their own narrative and letting other people catch up with them. So that's just my 2 cents about it here. I've been before you guys long enough tonight, though. I thank you so much for joining me tonight here on the Variable Y Minute. Again, if you love all the new stuff, please leave me a comment, leave me a like, let me know what you like, let me know what you don't like, and we can go from there. If you guys would like some t-shirts, I got logos and stuff, so now I'm going to make some t-shirts. So if you want a Variable Y Minute t-shirt, let me know, because I will be making some, and I would love to share it with you guys. So just let me know, hit me up, whatever you guys want. We can do all of that. Until then, thank you so much, as always, for joining us tonight. Hug and kiss your loved ones. Of course, you can follow me on other forms of social media. You can follow me on Instagram at Variable Y, all one word, or you can follow me on Twitter at _variable_Y or variable_Y. I don't know. I can't get that to save my life. But if you know me, if you follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Twitter as well. Have a wonderful night, you guys. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.